I don't pretend to give advice on life, and I definitely don't pretend to give financial advice. I definitely do not pretend to be, in any way, shape, or form, a financial guru. I don't even come close to even claiming that, but everybody loved the prior video on money, and I loved reading all the comments, and some of them were, to me, highly laughable, especially when it came to talk about crypto. I'm so sorry. Now, even, I'm not being a hypocrite since I actually have a Bitcoin donation link, and I've only ever gotten like 14 Bitcoin donations. A couple of them were good donations. One of them helped me buy a nice solar panel, and I spent it on Overstock.com. And the other time I bought some tools. But I don't suffer. Have you ever heard of this whole saying that if you can't hold it, you don't own it? I love it when people, especially in Facebook, but also too in the comments section, this video is not about crypto, is that, well, it's decentralized. It's not, you're safe. It's decentralized. Let's forget about the fact that crypto is the number one the toy joy of criminals and nefarious money laundering and trade. Let's forget about that blatantly obvious fact that it is the favorite toy thing of the seedy underworld and the seedy underworld transactions. So we could just forget about that second. I don't know if these people, they don't seem to realize. So it's not hackable, it's decentralized. Well, actually, it's been proven to be hackable. It has been proven to be hackable. But we could even forget about that. They said, well, it's decentralized. Well, that's well and fine. You ever see one of those kids and they're like a vampire? They're literally, and they exist. A vampire goes out in the sun and they burn immediately. There are human beings that are like that. They literally can't step outside for a few minutes. I mean, it will burn them, even a few minutes. Crypto is exactly like one of those people that has that very rare genetic disorder. It needs a network and electricity even to exist. Let's just think about that for a second. It absolutely needs a network and electricity. It needs several things to actually exist. It doesn't exist at all. Under super ideal conditions, like a bubble. Yeah, it's like, here's a bubble. It's like, yeah, it ain't gonna last very long. Under a perfect condition. I think there was someone that put a bubble underneath a glass dome under perfect humidity and temperature and lighting conditions, and it lasted like 10 years or something like that. I remember that. But that's what crypto is. It needs electricity and a network to survive. It's proven to be hackable. The government, if you think the NSA and the CIA can't track crypto, then you are smoking something that's not probably very legal. But this video is not about crypto. People say, let's talk about what's the most important thing to actually have. And now, you don't have to agree with me. I have a list of 4 things. Number 1 is land. Number 2 should also be land. But it's land, land, land. Yes, skills, being able to do things, fix things, make things, Number 3 is gold and silver. And number 4 is freedom seeds, because without freedom seeds, you can't keep and hold on to land and gold and silver. So that also, too, all throughout history has been its own currency. But, I'll let you argue whether I'm right about that or not. But, of course, I am right about that. I'm surprised so many people were arguing with me about crypto. It's like, oh, it's so decentralized. It's so important. Really? Seed money. Tell me, and I'm seeking your advice on this, because I do love to learn things. And like I said, I don't even begin to pretend to be, and I've thought about this significantly, but I don't care about, I'm not trying to collect money in my life. I would love to have a real vacation. I would love not to work 7 days a week. I am not a person. I know quite a few millionaires. The reason why these millionaires like me a lot is because I'm really smart and I know stuff. And number 2, I never ever ask them for money or to buy me stuff. To them, that's gold. This guy's really smart and he helps me, and he never asks me for money. But I seek your advice on this too. I've thought of 4 things, and I wished I was taught this in school because this is really important. There's some famous money guru. He's an Asian guy with round glasses. I can't think of his name. He has a YouTube channel. And he said one thing they never taught you about in school is instead of teaching you how to make money, they didn't teach you about money. They said they never taught you about money itself. And I thought, wow, that's a really, really intelligent statement. I've thought that before, but not so succinctly. That there's seed money, aspect number one. You tell me if there's more, because I love to learn. Seed money, where you actually, because someone was making fun of me about buying a lot of really expensive alligator stuff. Yeah, alligator hides. Like, oh my God, you always talk about how poor you are, and you bought these really, really expensive alligator hides. It's like, yeah, but I've already tripled my money on those really expensive hides. It's called seed money, where you actually invest money expecting a return. Someone explained this to me a few days ago, and I knew this, but I never heard it said so succinctly, and I'm going to quote him a second. Weaponized money, because debt is enslavement. He said, banks don't lend money; they lend debt. It's like, I knew that, but I never thought about it so precisely and more pithy as that. Extremely pithy. He said, what is weaponized money? Money generated from debt is weaponized money. It's a zero-sum game where debt equals money. One person's monetary wealth is by definition at least another person's inextinguishable debt. Another form of enslavement is planned obsolescence. I hate that. I'm going to get rid of my second car. I don't need to have two cars, even though one of them is fun to drive, because I just got a call early this morning by my car repair place, and it turns out there are these rams that push and lower the roof on my no, I shouldn't have a BMW. And they're bad. You could drive the car without the roof, but I mean, who wants to in this beautiful weather? So it's going to be $2,000. I mean, just unbelievably ridiculous. I shopped around, and like everybody else, like, yeah, I can't do that. Planned obsolescence is a hidden type of debt. When we buy all this plastic junk, and a lot of it is just cheap Chinese junk just cheap plastic junk made in China. I myself, throughout every aspect of my life, have tried to eliminate ever purchasing anything like that. I try never to buy anything that isn't going to directly make me money or help me, pay the bills. Like I said, I'm not trying to, collect or hoard money like Mr. Scrooge. I am not. I'm just trying to lead a simple life and pay the damn bills. And hopefully, before I kick the bucket, not work 7 days a week. And it's just like increasingly impossible. I should have learned the stock market at an early age. I admit that failure of my own. I mean, that's a failure of mine. Probably is of yours, may not be. So I don't pretend, because people watch, and I know they do on YouTube, they watch these guys that are mega rich, and they say this all obtuse stuff. What they really don't tell you, unless it's just they themselves, and there are some of them that do it, is that they have a social network of connections. They're these good boys clubs where they have inside information, and they get information and they act on it. And I've met some of these people, and they are extremely, unbelievably unintelligent, horrible people. And it's not because I have a bunch of money. They're just genuinely unintelligent people. I could name someone like that. He's a billionaire. I won't mention his name. But you could know who I'm talking about. There are a few. They're just not smart. They have a network that paid off. I wished I was taught in school that it's far, far less what you know than it is who you know. You could be the dumbest person on earth, but if you have the right connections, you can get so far financially. I mean, that's just unfreaking deniable. So I was talking about seed money, where you actually spend money, knowing that you're going to get a better return on it, because I know what to do with this stuff. I want to make nice-looking wallets that people want to buy. Seed money. Weaponized money, which is what banks do. They loan out money and they turn you into, they enslave you. Stagnant money that's hoarded, kind of like unplanted seeds. These people that have a safe in the basement and they stick it full of gold and silver. It doesn't do anything. It's stagnant. Or someone that sticks a bunch of cash in their vault. Self-breeding money, where people invest in the stock market. It's not making anything. It's not actually helping anybody or anything in the world. it does in people's 401k. I mean, people invest in their 401k or retirement fund, but it's just making people rich. It's not doing anything. Like me working with my hands. Like I spent $2,000 on alligator hides. I worked my butt off like a dog and still am, making these nice looking wallets that people want to buy. I wish I had a ton more alligator, just as an example. I could literally sell like 100 more alligator wallets. I'm no joke. I have so many emails. Like I just don't have that much alligator, and they're really hard to produce. I have to have a skill set, which I do have. I have the inserts for those wallets here. Here you can see them. After I cut these out, I have to glue them, and then I sew it, and then I whip out the grinder, the sandpaper grinder, to grind this perfectly flat, and then I sit there with a special tool and I edge coat that shiny black surface, and this is the interior of the wallet. This alone is a lot of time. I just don't have the time. Even if I had the Gator wallets, the Gator material, I mean, so time is money. We're all trading as well. How much of my life do I want to, fart away in the wind so I can, and it's supposed to be about making your money work for you. Like I said, a smart person would say, well, that's just ridiculous. You're busting your ass when I could sit here, sucking on a milkshake, playing the stock market. I make, $20,000 in a day while you're sitting there, sweating away making wallets. And that's true. They're not actually producing anything, though, which is fine. It's like, well, what do I care, man? I got a bunch of money in the bank. I'm going to head to Aruba tomorrow for a week or two, per day. I would love to have a real vacation. That's the only reason I wished I had at least a couple bucks so I could take a real vacation. And I wouldn't have to, because time is money. When we spend all of our lives, grinding away to pay the bills, then, life is wasted. I mean, there's not a single one of you out there that can't, there is fulfillment. I do feel fulfilled making stuff, but it's like I'm not doing, I enjoy making stuff and I enjoy the pride of manufacture, but I really do. But yesterday, this is no joke, I worked from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m., and then I started again and worked for another 4 hours very, very late in the night. Time is our lives. We only have so much time in our lives, and we spend it working away like a prisoner. Then that's not a good life. So money is not about money. Money is about time. But we don't have to have money to have time. We could, live a simple life, which is what I probably very well may do sometime in the future. Just sell what little I have, move to the farm, live a really, really, really basic, simple life. I mean, that's why I'm going to sell my second car. I just had a $2,000 bill on my second car. I kid you not. The labor involved is like $1,200 on that roof and $800 on those rams. I had $2,000 for hydraulic motors. After I repair it, I'm going to sell it. It's a fun car to drive. It's absolutely flat out gorgeous, but I don't need to have it. I enjoy driving it. It is a hoot to drive. Better than any roller coaster I've ever been on. So I enjoy having it, but do I need to have it? The answer is no, especially when it's draining me dry like a money pit. I don't really consider it to be a money pit, but I mean, $2,000 is a lot of money to me. Was it J.P. Morgan Chase said, only gold is money. Everything else is credit. Now, you can tell me I'm totally full of poo when I say this. And I agree with the fact that if you can't hold it, you don't own it. I mean, this is really true. If you can't hold it or touch it, like land, then you don't really own it. People say, well, you don't own the land either because you got to pay property tax. So what? $500 a year on property taxes. Who cares? No big deal, I pay my taxes, I pay my bills, I pay my property taxes. The land is still mine until I kick the bucket or I sell it. But my premise is, and tell me how much you consider me to be wrong, I don't care because I know I'm right, that nobody has anything without land. There are many places in this world where you're not allowed to own land. You ever want to know how evil governments are? Here's something real that's undeniable. You ever want to know how evil various entities are in the world. All you have to do is know what they don't want you to own. And what would be those top 2 or 3 things? Depends on the country. Gold and silver, that's not the top one, but one of them is gold and silver. The other one is land. And the third one is pew, 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 pew. Hope you figure that one out. Go pew, 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 pew. They don't want you to own that. If you want to know what's important to protect yourself and your life and feed yourself, the only thing you need to do is know what governments don't want you to have. They don't want you to have land. They don't want you to have gold and silver. And they don't want you to have thunder sticks. But the most important thing to me is land. I couldn't believe all the people that were saying silly stuff like, oh, the most important thing's crypto. It's decentralized. You can't hold it. And like a fragile baby, it doesn't even exist without electricity and a network. If you have land, unless it's in a horrible place like Antarctica or something, if you have land, you have food. Yeah? And, since most land has trees on it, unless it's like scrub horrible places out in Colorado and Nevada, you got shelter. And then the critters that are walking around it, you could use their hides as clothing. So land gives you everything. You can't just like sit there and it'll give you everything. You have to cultivate it and farm it. Land gives you food, clothing, and shelter. It gives you everything a human being needs to live. I mean, there is nothing more important than land. There is not a single person out there that could argue with me about it. I mean, I don't want to be a farmer. Like the lowest paying job on earth, one of them is a farmer. But it's we might go back to a trading society sometime in the near future, which, the whole world is collapsing. You know it and I know it. It's land, not crypto. All these people say, crypto, it's decentralized, it's so great. It's not even real. It doesn't even exist without a network and electricity. It is hackable. That's been proven. Yes, it is. Also, too, the NSA and the CIA do track crypto transactions. They do. That's been proven, too. Not that I really care. I've only ever gotten like 12 crypto donations in my life. Some around 12 or 15. A couple of them were good. I bought tools with one and I bought a solar panel with the other. But I mean, how on earth would someone say crypto is even... It doesn't even come within 1,000,000 miles of land. Nobody has anything without some land. They just don't. I don't care what you say. I don't care if you disagree with me. Without land, everything is about land. City dweller doesn't understand that, Most of them don't. It's land. Like, they could take land from you. The government can. Like, if you don't pay your property taxes, that's true. But it's land. That's the reason why I sold 40% of my stuff last year, and I bought a farm, and I bought a cabin in the woods. It's land. I may eventually wind up there. I am sick to death of all these bills. I'm canceling a couple of my insurance policies. I don't even have health insurance. Can't afford health insurance. It's like, sure, you could buy health insurance. You know what health insurance here in the United States is? It means if I buy like a cheap health insurance policy, it means I have to personally spend like $20,000, $30,000 before it kicks in. It's like, well, that's stupid. Why would I buy health insurance if it doesn't kick in until I kick in like 20 or 30 grand every year? I mean, that's just dumb. That's the same as not having it. Well, you got health insurance now, but it doesn't kick in until you spend like 20, 30 grand. Well, that's dumb. And don't ever tell me you got free health insurance, because you don't. People say, we got free health insurance. I love it when people from Sweden and Norway say that. It's like, no, you don't. Yeah, we do. No, you pay super, super, super high taxes. Super. It's like 70%. Depends on the region and whatnot. It's astronomically high. If you're paying obnoxiously insane astronomical taxes, then you ain't getting free health. I got free health care. No, you don't. The most expensive health care on earth is free health care. It's not free at all. We're going to take everything you make on your job, but we're going to give you free health care. No. Was that too over the top? Anyway, thanks for watching.